My name is Naomi Carter. I'm 33, and until late spring, I thought my life made sense. We're a tight Black American family spread around the Carolinas. My parents live a quick drive down I-85, and my younger sister Tasha, 29, is raising her little girl, Maya, 6. Tasha used to be married to DeAndre, but they split a while back. Me? I was married for 7 years to a man who swore we were a team. We wanted children so badly it felt like breathing. Charts on the fridge, early appointments, procedures I wouldn't wish on anybody. Each month the test read no, and each month I stitched myself together. He said we were in it together. Turned out he was in it with 2 other women, one with a newborn boy and another already pregnant. While I was getting blood drawn, he was out naming babies. By June, the divorce scraped everything raw. I stopped sleeping. Food tasted like paper. When Mama called and said, "Baby, come with us to St. Lucia, sunshine, family, a change of air," I said yes before she finished the sentence. I needed daytime, open sky, anything that wasn't a clinic ceiling. We planned a daylight flight out of Charlotte. I bought a sand-colored sundress, a brimmed hat, and flip-flops that slapped happily against the floor when I walked. Tasha told me Maya had been practicing saying ocean like it was a spell. That morning, the terminal gleamed. Sun spilled through the tall windows, kids pressed their noses to glass, and the loudspeaker kept announcing places with warm names. I rolled my coral suitcase toward Gate 12 and spotted my family. Daddy with his newspaper, Mama with snacks in a clear bag, Tasha adjusting Maya's little denim jacket. "Auntie Naomi," Maya barreled into my legs, pony beads clacking. I scooped her up and kissed those cinnamon cheeks. "You ready to see turquoise water, sunshine?" I asked. "Mommy says there will be big fish," she whispered like it was classified. "Naomi, can you grab a water?" Tasha asked, nodding toward a cafe cluster down the atrium. The line by our gate looked long. The one under the skylight looked reasonable. We still had 40 minutes. "Of course," I said, ruffling Maya's hair. "I'll be right back." Daylight poured across the concourse as I queued up. Airport time moves funny, slow until it snaps. 2 families debated muffins. A barista's printer jammed. Someone behind me kept sighing for sport. Then a familiar voice, "Naomi? Carter?" I turned. Janelle, my old college roommate, grinning like a postcard. We hadn't seen each other in more than a year. "Girl, look at you," she said, pulling me into a quick hug. "Where you headed?" We traded headline updates, her twins, my new role at work, a tasteful version of my divorce. She gave me the kind of look only a good friend can, soft but honest. "You're still here," she said. "That's the victory." By the time the water slid across the counter and we said our goodbyes, sunlight had drifted across the tiles and my phone said I'd been gone longer than I'd meant to. Just over 20 minutes. I hurried back, the cold bottle sweating in my hand. Gate 12 should have looked like home base, Daddy's paper, Mama's clear snack bag, Tasha's bright scarf. Instead, the seats were empty. I scanned the clusters of travelers, the strollers, the suitcases. Then I saw her. Maya stood in a square of sunlight, clutching a tiny rose-pink purse, eyes wide like a deer on a front lawn. No Tasha, no Mama, no Daddy, just my niece, 6 years old, planted by herself in the middle of a busy morning terminal. My heart slammed so loud I heard it. I dropped to my knees. "Hey, sugar." My voice came out steady somehow. "Where's Mommy? Where's Nana and Pop? "They went on the airplane," she said, small and careful. "Mama said to wait for you. You would take care of me." I looked up at the gate screen. The status blink departed. Sunlight kept shining like nothing had happened. People streamed past with sunscreen and straw hats. My hands shook as I swallowed a wave of heat and anger. "Did Mommy give you something for me?" I asked. Maya nodded, opened her purse with both hands and pulled out a folded note. I knew Tasha's handwriting before I even read it. "Naomi, you're always saying you want time with a child. Here you go. We changed to an earlier flight. Take good care of her. Tasha." The paper felt hot, like it could scorch. Who leaves a 6-year-old solo at a gate in a morning crowd? The sunlight didn't make it cleaner. It just made every choice too visible. I hugged Maya tight, the kind of hold that says I've got you now. "We're okay," I told her into her hair. "I'm here." I checked the time again. Their plane had rolled 10 minutes ago. My texts to the family thread lit up green with no replies. "Fine." "Come on, sunshine," I said, standing and taking her hand. We're going to my place. We'll sit on the balcony in the daylight, eat something good, and figure the rest out. Maya nodded, brave in that way children are. Trust given like a gift. We walked out under a noon-bright sky, the parking deck shimmering in heat, my anger cooling into something sharper than rage. Purpose. I brought Maya home and threw open the blinds. Sun spilled across my living room and onto the balcony, where the ficus leans toward the light like it's praying. I set her up with grilled cheese, apple slices, and a cup of lemonade. We're doing a daytime picnic, I told her, and we ate out on the balcony while the neighborhood hummed. Lawn mowers, distant basketballs, somebody's gospel playlist floating on warm air. Is Mommy coming today? She asked, squinting at a little cloud that looked like a duck. I don't know yet, I said gently, but I've got you. She nodded like 6-year-olds do, accepting answers that don't fix everything but mean everything. When I stepped inside to grab napkins, anger rose again, hot and bright. I texted the family thread anyway. Me, you left a child alone at gate 12. I have her. Call me. No dots, no reply. I stared at Tasha's note again. The letters were pretty, the meaning ugly. Then a thought hit hard and clean. DeAndre, Tasha's ex, the man we'd all heard was useless, absent, allergic to responsibility. But Maya lit up every time his name came up. And what I saw in that airport told me to question every story I'd been handed. I found his number and pressed call. Naomi? His voice was careful. Everything okay? Not really. Tasha and my parents switched to an earlier flight and left Maya at the gate, in the middle of the morning rush. She was alone. I have her. If you want to see your daughter today, come now. The breath left his voice like someone cracked a window. Text me the address. I'm on my way. He showed up before lunchtime with a sun-yellow kite tucked awkwardly under his arm. When Maya saw him, she ran so fast her sandals pattered like rain. Daddy! She slammed into his knees, laughing. He scooped her up and kissed her forehead, his eyes glassy. Hey, Button, I missed you. We took the kite to the apartment courtyard because everything needed to be out in the sun. The breeze cooperated. Maya ran in bright loops, the kite straining free while DeAndre coached her. Keep your wrist loose, baby. Let the wind do the work. If you've ever seen love, you know it when it's right in front of you. Back on the balcony, Maya colored at the little cafe table, humming. I turned to DeAndre. Tell me the real story. He exhaled, long. Naomi, a lot of what you've heard about me came from Tasha. I kept quiet to protect Maya. But I can't keep quiet after what happened this morning. He pulled out a slim folder and a phone. I've been documenting things for 6 months. I didn't want to blow up the family if I could avoid it. But I'm done avoiding. He showed me messages. Names blocked for the innocent, receipts for the not-so-innocent. Tasha scheduling midday brunches that rolled into backyard day parties, coordinating rides, laughing emojis about daytime mimosas until the sun goes down. Photos she'd posted at 1:15 p.m., 3:40 p.m., 5:05 p.m. Sunglasses, plastic cups, grill smoke curling behind her. Maya nowhere in sight. I hired a licensed investigator after I found out she'd been seeing somebody while we were still married, he said quietly. But what scared me most wasn't the cheating. It was the carelessness. He opened a short video clipped in bright noon light, Tasha stumbling a bit as she buckles Maya into a booster after a patio day party. Another clip, Tasha taking a long sip from a travel tumbler, then sliding into the driver's seat at 2:30 in the afternoon. There are 4 separate afternoons like this, he said, all in broad daylight. My stomach tightened. Why not call the police then? Because one incident becomes a misunderstanding. I needed a pattern the court couldn't ignore. He laid out expense statements. $2,400 in clothing over 8 weeks, $1,150 in salon packages, $780 in restaurant tabs. Most stamped mid-afternoon. I send child support on time, he said, jaw tight. But look at Maya's sneakers in these investigator photos. He swiped. The shoes were splitting at the toe. Her t-shirt cuffs were too tight. Where was your family during all this? I asked, even though I already knew. Tasha charmed them, he said, and I kept quiet to avoid a war. That ends now. Sunlight slanted across my rug. Maya held up a purple crayon drawing. Auntie, this is us and the kite. She'd drawn the string as a bright curve, like a smile across the sky. I looked at DeAndre. We're not whispering about this. We're going to fix it. I've already called my attorney, he said. We'll file an emergency motion first thing Monday morning. Custody modification, plus a request for airport security footage. Abandoning a 6-year-old at a busy gate for over 20 minutes in broad daylight? The court will take that seriously. We're also documenting everything from today forward, I added. I sat with Maya and snapped a gentle photo, her eating on the balcony, coloring, flying the kite, all in the daylight, all safe. Not for the internet, I told DeAndre. For the judge. He nodded. I'll bring the investigators' certified reports, dates, times, locations, no late night anything. This is all midday neglect. Maya leaned against my arm, the trust of a child like a little anchor. Auntie, can Daddy come tomorrow and we go to the big park, the one with the fountain? We can go this afternoon, I said, smiling. We'll pack sandwiches and sit by the water where the sun hits it. DeAndre looked at me, gratitude plain as the noon sky. Thank you, he said, for believing what you see. I believe her, I said, nodding toward Maya. And I'm done believing lies told in pretty handwriting. We spent the rest of the afternoon at the park, the fountain throwing diamonds into the air. Maya fed crumbs to bold little sparrows and made up names for every dog that walked by. No big speeches, just proof. The kind you collect in sunshine where everything is visible. That evening, still light out when we got back, my phone buzzed. A single message from Tasha. We'll be back next week. Don't be dramatic, keep Maya until then. Not, how is she? Not, thank you. Just instructions. Good. Every text wrote our case a little clearer. We sketched a checklist at the kitchen counter. Attorney filing Monday morning, request airport footage from Gate 12, submit investigators' daytime documentation, print financial summaries, the $2,400, 150, $780, log a daily care journal, meals, park time, bedtimes, no drama, just facts. Schedule a daytime welfare visit, let the caseworker see what safe looks like under the sun. We taped the list to my fridge where the light hits first thing every morning. Purpose has a way of steadying your hands. That night, windows open, daylight fading soft, I tucked Maya into my guest bed with her kite folded like a secret. Auntie? She whispered. Are we going to the fountain again? Yes, baby, I said. We've got a lot of good days ahead. Monday morning, sun already warming the sidewalk, we walked into DeAndre's attorney's office with our folder. Fluorescent lighting never flatters anyone, so I stood by the window, where the daylight came through and laid out everything. The note from Gate 12, the timeline, the expense summaries. 2,400, 1,150, 780, and the investigators' reports stamped with midday dates and times. Attorney Miss Benton, sharp Bob, sharper mind, listened without interrupting. 2 prongs, she said, uncapping a pen. Emergency custody modification and preservation of evidence from the airport. We'll subpoena terminal camera feeds around Gate 12 and nearby concourse angles. We'll also request a welfare assessment to document Maya's stability right now. Sun up, lights on, nothing hidden. She filed the papers before noon. That afternoon, per our checklist, a caseworker named Miss Eldridge visited. I didn't stage anything beyond the truth. Blinds up, balcony door open, afternoon breeze coming through. Maya sat at the table with markers, drawing a fountain that looked like fireworks. Tell me about your days, Miss Eldridge asked, her voice soft. We eat breakfast on the balcony, I said. Parks before lunch. Reading circle on the rug when the sun hits the corner there. Plenty of water breaks. She naps by the window, she says the light makes quiet shadows. Maya nodded like a tiny forewoman, confirming my testimony. Do you feel safe with Aunt Naomi? Miss Eldridge asked Maya. Yes, Maya said, clear as glass. We fly the kite where everybody can see it. We took the interview outside to the courtyard. Miss Eldridge wanted to observe play. Maya pedaled the little community scooter loop while I walked alongside, and DeAndre arrived with sliced oranges and a soccer ball. He didn't make speeches. He tied her shoelaces, tucked a curl behind her ear, and asked if she wanted to try toe taps on the ball. That's the kind of evidence that doesn't need a caption. Consistency and daylight routine, Miss Eldridge murmured, jotting notes. Children thrive on seeing what safety looks like. By Wednesday noon, Miss Benton called. We've got the airport footage. We met her outside the courthouse steps so she could summarize before the file exchange. Multiple angles, she said, shielding her tablet from the sun with a folder. Your sister, your parents, and Maya approach Gate 12 together. Boarding call moves. Adults proceed down the jetway. Maya remains standing by the seating area. Timestamp shows 28 minutes unattended before you return, Naomi. There's also a passerby who bends to ask if she's okay. My jaw tightened, but the light on those courthouse steps felt like backup. The truth belongs in the open. Miss Benton also received the investigator's certified montage. 4 separate afternoons of Tasha leaving outdoor day parties, buckling Maya in, then getting behind the wheel with a drink, yet unfinished. No sirens, no midnight drama, just bright sun and bad choices. Next, Ms. Benton said, we'll schedule a preliminary hearing. Given the footage and pattern, I'll request temporary placement with DeAndre, continue day-to-day care with you until orders are entered, and a treatment plan requirement before any visitation is considered. That Friday at noon, Miss Eldridge returned for a follow-up in the park. She wanted to see us in a public setting. We set up on a bench by the big fountain, Maya in a polka-dot sun hat, legs swinging, reading a leveled reader about turtles. DeAndre pointed out a line in the book and asked her to sound it out. She did, then looked up at the water catching the sun like tossed coins. Do you know why you're spending time with Aunt Naomi and Daddy right now? Miss Eldridge asked gently. Because they keep me safe in the day, Maya said. No scary airport. I swallowed hard. DeAndre's hand found the bench edge near mine, near, not touching, like we were both anchoring the moment. When we walked back under the trees, Miss Eldridge closed her notebook. I'll be filing an interim report this afternoon. My recommendation will reflect what I observed, stability with Aunt Naomi and strong, responsive parenting from Mr. Jordan. On Sunday, just after church let out and the parking lot glittered with hubcaps, my phone buzzed. A single text from Tasha. We land tomorrow. Be ready at 7 to hand her over. No inquiry, no apology, just entitlement, written plain. I took a photo of the message for the record and slid my phone away. We'll let the court speak, I said to DeAndre. The sun was high and honest. We didn't need to raise our voices. That evening, still bright out, we packed a simple outdoor dinner. Rotisserie chicken, slices of watermelon, and biscuits that flaked in our hands. We ate at the picnic tables behind my building while Maya invented a game where every ant on the sidewalk had a job and a name. I kept thinking, safety shouldn't be a favor. It should be standard daylight. The calendar ticked toward the hearing, and for the first time since everything broke, I felt steadier than the ground itself. Evidence doesn't blush. It just shines. Monday, 4:30 p.m. The sun was still high and nosy, peeking through the sweet gum trees out front when Tasha's rideshare rolled to the curb. I'd asked Miss Eldridge, the caseworker, to conduct the exchange outside my building. Clear sightlines, everything documented in the open. DeAndre stood a few steps back near the flower beds, hands loose at his sides. Miss Benton couldn't attend but had prepped us like a coach. Stay calm, stay public, let the facts talk. Tasha climbed out in a straw hat and vacation braids, tinted shades, sun-kissed and smiling like this was a reunion special. Where's my baby? She called, waving her phone. I kept my voice level. Right here. Maya ran from the chalk drawings we'd made on the sidewalk. She slowed when she saw her mother, then looked up at me, uncertain. Before Tasha could step in, Miss Eldridge lifted a hand. Miss Carter, I'm with County Child Welfare. There's an emergency order in process, and until the preliminary hearing, custody is status quo with Mr. Jordan, the designated caregiver, and Miss Carter, she nodded to me, as day-to-day caretaker. You may visit today with supervision here on the courtyard bench. Tasha's smile thinned. Supervision? From who? From me, Miss Eldridge said, calm as a porch swing. We all sat outside where the sunlight didn't miss a thing. Tasha patted the bench beside her. Come here, Maya. The little girl drifted over, polite but cautious. How was the island? I asked evenly. Therapeutic, Tasha said, eyes on me over the top of her sunglasses. Some of us know how to heal without making scenes. DeAndre stayed anchored near the planters, voice steady. Maya, tell Mommy what we did yesterday. We had a picnic and flew the kite and read by the fountain, Maya chirped. Auntie says the fountain throws diamonds in the daytime. Tasha smirked. So y'all playing house in broad daylight? Cute. Miss Carter, Miss Eldridge interjected gently. Let's keep today focused on Maya. Tasha leaned back, phone angled just so. Focused is exactly what I am. And focused on my child means handing her back to me now. I reached into my tote and produced the copy of Tasha's note from gate 12. It glowed too white in the sun. "You left a 6-year-old alone at a busy gate for 28 minutes, I said. "In a terminal full of strangers." Tasha's mouth flattened. "She wasn't alone. I knew you'd come back." "That is the definition of alone," Ms. Eldridge said, marking a line in her pad. "And it's why the court will hear this tomorrow morning." Tasha's composure cracked. "You just jealous," she hissed at me. "Couldn't give a man a baby, so you stole mine in the middle of the day to play pretend mother." DeAndre stepped forward one pace, not close, just present. "Tasha, enough." Tasha pivoted on him. "And you? Posting up like a hero? Where were you when bills were due?" DeAndre's jaw worked once. On time, every month. He tapped the folder at his side. "I brought the receipts to the court, all of them." Tasha stood, throwing shade where the trees didn't. "I'm taking my child now." "Not today," Ms. Eldridge said, voice firm. "You may sit with her here for 20 minutes. Then she returns with Miss Carter and Mr. Jordan. If you escalate, I will end the visit. That's my call." For a long breath, the only sound was a cicada insisting on being heard. Finally, Tasha sat back down, sunglasses hiding whatever the sun would have exposed. She asked Maya about her drawings. Maya answered, small but sweet. 20 minutes felt longer than highway miles, but we kept every emotion in the open where glare burns away the fog. When time was up, Miss Eldridge thanked everyone, documented the end of visit, and nodded to me. "Consistency," she said softly. "See you all at the morning hearing." Tuesday, 10 a.m. The courthouse atrium flooded with daylight like it had an opinion. We sat at the front, me, DeAndre, Miss Benton, with Maya coloring a sun with a face on the first page of a quiet activity pad. Tasha arrived with my parents in tow, all Sunday smiles on a Tuesday. The judge took the bench, robes catching a slice of window light. "We're here on Jordan v. Carter for emergency relief," she said. "Counsel, proceed." Ms. Benton stood, calm, organized, no theatrics. She entered exhibits, airport footage, multiple angles showing Tasha and my parents boarding, while Maya remained alone by gate 12, unattended. Investigator reports documenting 4 daytime incidents of impaired judgment with a child in the vehicle. Financial summaries. $2,400 apparel, $1,150 salons, $780 restaurants over 8 weeks, contrasted with images of Maya's worn sneakers. Caseworker notes 2 visits describing stable, daylight routines and responsive parenting by DeAndre and day-to-day care by me. "It's all lies," Tasha blurted. The judge lifted a palm. "You will have a turn, Miss Carter." When the airport video played, sunlight from the high windows washed the screen. Even the dust in the beams seemed to wait. There was no soundtrack, just the bald choreography of bad choices. My mother shifted, whispering, I mean Naomi, this isn't necessary," catching herself, mixing us like old photo albums. I kept my eyes on Maya's little sun drawing. She gave it eyelashes. Tasha's counsel tried to paint the terminal moment as a brief mix-up. Benton didn't raise her voice, she just pointed back to the timestamp. 28 minutes is not a mix-up. It's an abdication. When Tasha took the stand, she started hot. "Naomi hates me, she always has. She's trying to replace me because she can't." Miss Carter, the 6 weeks between orders moved like a long, bright ribbon. We kept everything in the open. Mornings on the balcony with oatmeal and strawberries, midday library trips for story hour, afternoon parks where sprinklers stitched rainbows over grass. DeAndre handled the big stuff with a steady hand. Doctor forms, preschool enrollment meetings, a tiny pink backpack with her name stitched in block letters. I handled the dailies. Snacks, reading logs, a chart on the fridge where stickers tracked good sleep and kind words. Tasha's visits happened outdoors at the county center when the weather cooperated. A shade sail flapped politely while caseworkers took notes. Some days Tasha arrived on time, voice low, sunglasses off. Some days she came late, brittle and bright. Even then, the rules held. Daytime, supervised, structured. No more improvising with a child's safety. On the second week, Tasha texted me a photo, her certificate from an alcohol education course, daytime class. The next week, I saw a handout tucked into her bag about parenting strategies. She didn't brag, and I didn't praise. We just let the facts sit in the light. Meanwhile, my parents kept calling, their voices full of that soft steel only elders have. "Baby, we raised you to stand by family," Mama said one afternoon while I sliced melon on the balcony. I am standing by family, I answered. I'm standing by the smallest one. She went quiet, and I heard a window open on her end like the house itself needed more air. The ordinary saved us. Saturday farmer's market. Maya sampling peach slices with juice on her lips, choosing flowers that look like fireworks, picnic lunches on the rec center hill, rotisserie chicken, carrot sticks, the sun warming our shoulders while DeAndre taught her how to toss a frisbee without it turning into a renegade plate, neighborhood block party one bright Sunday, grill smoke curling into the blue, kids chalking hopscotch on the driveway. We ate on paper plates at folding tables under the sky because that's what safety looked like for us now. People present, choices visible, nothing hidden. When the review hearing finally came at 9 a.m., the courthouse blasted with morning light. Maya sat between me and DeAndre coloring a turtle. Calm like she had learned courtrooms could be just another room if the grown-ups did their jobs. Miss Eldridge reported first, consistent routines, responsive care, no concerns with DeAndre's parenting. She recommended continuing physical custody with him, day-to-day logistics shared with me as long as Maya stayed stable. Child appears bonded to both caregivers and benefits from the predictability of their daytime structure, she said, voice like a straight line. Then came Tasha's update. Proof of course completion, weekly counseling sign-ins, negative screenings. I have been attending a day program and a support group, she said, eyes finally unhidden. I'm learning how to keep my emotions and my choices in the sun. Her lawyer asked for expanded visitation. Miss Benton didn't object outright. We'd accept supervised outdoor visits increasing in length with a step-up plan if compliance stays perfect and exchanges remain calm. The judge folded her hands where the light could find them. Miss Carter, she said to Tasha, repair is work you do daily. I won't reward promises. I will reward proof. Then she read the new order. Physical custody remains with Mr. Jordan. Day-to-day care may continue with Ms. Naomi Carter by agreement while school transitions settle. Step-up visitation for Ms. Tasha Carter. Supervised daytime visits expanded to outdoor community settings. Contingent progression to unsupervised daytime after 8 consecutive weeks of full compliance, no incidents, and positive caseworker reports. Co-parenting class day schedule. Return for status in 8 weeks, again in the morning. No gavel slam, just the sound of a paper sliding into a file, quiet, permanent. Outside, the three of us, me, DeAndre, and Maya, walked to a diner with a patio. We ordered pancakes and eggs under a big umbrella while cars hissed by in the sunshine. Maya lined up syrup packets and named each one after a sea animal. DeAndre lifted his coffee and without making it a ceremony said, to the simple things. I could have told him then that I'd stopped waking up at 3 a.m. I could have told him the divorce no longer felt like a hole and more like a boundary I'd survived. Instead, I buttered a biscuit and watched our girl cut pancakes with the concentration of a scientist. Love isn't always fireworks. Sometimes it's a checklist on a fridge and a child who knows exactly who will be there at noon. In the weeks that followed, Tasha kept showing up in the daylight. She learned to narrate her choices for Maya. We're staying under the shade because the sun is high. We'll drink water before we go to the swings. The caseworker's notes softened into sentences that sounded like possibility. No more sunglasses during visits, no more brittle, just a woman trying, visible. One Saturday afternoon, we all ended up at the same community cookout. 100 people, aluminum trays, laughter bouncing off basketball backboards. Tasha stood awkward at the edge until Maya tugged her hand toward the face paint table. I watched from the grill line while DeAndre chatted with a neighbor about Little League. Nobody gave a speech. Nobody picked a fight. The DJ spun old-school tracks. The sky held. On the walk home, Maya slipped her paint-splashed hand into mine. Auntie, are we going back to the fountain tomorrow? Of course, I said. We've got a date with the sun. That night, I wrote the last entry in the care journal I'd been keeping since gate 12. Today, we stayed in the light. Not a heroic line, just a true one. My ex once told me I was worthless because I couldn't deliver a certain dream on a certain timeline. Life told me otherwise. Mothering, auntieing, caregiving, whatever you call it, turned out to be actions, not titles. Show up in the day, feed the child, hold the boundary, tell the truth. Repeat. I don't know exactly how Tasha's story ends. I only know how our days begin, Windows open, shoes by the door, a little voice asking what we'll see when the sun hits the water. We pack snacks, grab the kite, and go find out together. And every time I pass an airport sign now, I say a quiet promise I can keep. No more shadows. Not on my watch. Sometimes, the loudest truth is found in the child nobody protected. On those courthouse steps, Maya finally walked away with people who chose her safety over excuses. Naomi didn't steal anyone's child. She protected a little girl who had been left behind by the people who should have held her closest. So tell me, did Naomi and DeAndre do the right thing? Or should Tasha have been given another chance? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your voice matters here. And if this story touched your heart, please subscribe and join this family of listeners who believe in truth, justice, and protecting the innocent. Also, tell me the city you're watching from. I'd love to know how far Maya's story has traveled. Thank you for watching. Sometimes love is not who gives birth to you, but who refuses to leave you standing alone.